Bonsoir, bonsoir les amis. I hope that you're absolutely wonderful. It's me, Gracia Susuzande, your host of tonight. And then I hope that you're wonderful regardless of where you're finding yourself. I greet you in the four corners of the world and I say, welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight is going to be another topic with me. We are going to discuss something very emotional, very, very emotional. And I hope that you have with you all the tissues and everything that is, that can help you to hold on all your emotions, physical and mental, honestly, as it's going to be quite brutal. We are going to discuss a story of a young lady who has gone through quite a shocking story, and it's all about her family, everything else, and I'm gonna put it through for you to watch, for you to come back to me and tell me more about it. But before we dive into the story, please do connect yourself on all my pages. When I'm talking about YouTube, I'm talking about Facebook, I'm talking about Instagram. We are also on on TikTok, Etincelle Talk Show. Please connect, and in case you tell me, Gracia, I've missed the show, unfortunately I cannot go back to it, but what you can do is go on my page of YouTube, Etincelle Talk Show, subscribe, and you can literally see all the shows, the ones you've missed. Listen, there was this one show that we did last week with an amazing artist, Mimi. Oh my God. If you missed her, well, you're going to have to go quickly and check her out, because she is an amazing artist who is currently doing her tour. I believe that it's already finished, but she was here in London and she was going through, Birmingham, going in Manchester, going so many places. So I do invite you to really go and check her out. Anyway, so I'm not going to take too much of your time, just a short little break. Go do your thing, come back to us, and stay connected. See you in a minute. bien, de retour on the platform of Etincelle, and once again, welcome. And then I hope that you are ready for tonight as we are discussing an amazing young lady called Aziza Kabibi, who is an American citizen. I'm currently right now actually in America, but her story is quite deep as we are going to, to go step by step in order for you to understand exactly what it's all about. So the theme of today is from victim to a hero. Why victim? Because she's a victim of something quite deep, something that happened to her, and I'm sure that is happening around the world to so many other young ladies, such as her, who was innocent, very young at her age, didn't know better, didn't know anything about what could possibly, I'm gonna say this, she didn't know better, and then honestly, she got taken advantage of this innocent, and when I looked at at this video and I saw the way she was speaking, the way she was communicating, she's so sweet, but also broken, but today healed. And she is basically the proof that it's possible for you to go through situation. She is the proof that you can go through a hard time. She is the proof that a human being can actually can be tear apart, but somehow come back together and still find strength in order to keep on fighting. So victim, why victim? Because victim is basically this person who can easily be being attacked, violated, even hurt. It could be that you went through an accident, that you went through all the situation. You can be a victim, but it seems like a lot of people, even in our century, are somehow putting themselves in the line of a victim, although I actually wonder whether they truly know what victim is and what a victim can truly go through emotionally, physically, and mentally. Let's not even talk about spiritual. And so please bear with me as I'm gonna ask Regie to put this video together. As soon as it's played, honestly, we are going to discuss a little bit about her, to discuss how we can possibly help people in this situation, because it's actually happening under low, and not a lot of people are actually blowing the whistle. Please, as soon as you listen to the story, and I hope that it will touch your heart and I hope that it will touch your mind, blow the whistle, call someone, talk to someone. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much, just gonna give you that little time. Look at this video and come back to me. See you in a minute.
My name is Aziza Kabibi, and I survived over 17 years of abuse at the hands of my father that resulted in 4 children by him. I had a huge family, my parents and what ended up being a lot more siblings lived in the same house that my grandmother immigrated from England and purchased here in America. It was a huge house in New Jersey, and essentially we were one big happy family. But there was some tension between my father, being that he was American, and my grandparents, they were West Indian. So I just remember hearing arguments back and forth sometimes when I was young. Well, as I got older, I started to witness my father hit my mom. The reasons varied from anything from whether he didn't like her attitude or she confronted him about something in their relationship to issues that they had with my grandparents. And that put a strain on me as a child and my relationship with my grandparents and my aunts. Then he decided that he was going to be polygamous. He was going to adopt the polygamous lifestyle, which my my mom's parents were completely against, and that just caused more controversy and more tension within the family. But as I got older, you know, you as a kid, you get used to these things. This is just how your family is. I grew up isolated because I was also homeschooled. So along with, you know, my father being polygamous and him delivering his children at home, he also homeschooled his children. So I did not really build social behaviors that you see more common in children that go to regular public schools or schools in general. So one day, one of my sisters was a baby. I was 8 years old. It was just before my 9-year-old birthday. My mom sent me to go talk to my dad. Now, the roles that my parents played in my life, other than being my teachers and my guides for everything, all of my knowledge came from them, and all of our rules, regulations, what was right and wrong, all came from my parents. And because I didn't have interaction with many children outside of my family, there was nothing to compare to. So of course, you know, I was afraid of my dad because he was the one that would dish out punishment if my siblings and I did anything wrong. So when my mother told me that daddy wanted to talk to me alone, I was so nervous because I could not imagine what it was that I possibly could have done wrong. I went into my parents' bedroom when my father was standing, and the things that he said to me was actually very encouraging. And he told me that he was proud of me and that I was very responsible, and he was proud of how well I did with my schoolwork and helping to take care of my siblings. But I still wondered, well, why are we having this conversation separately? So within all of his commending and his praise, he then told me that he had to teach me how to be a woman, which I didn't understand. And he said that he had to teach me how to be a woman, he had to teach me what to do as a wife, and that all fathers did this with their daughters. Then he took me into this little back room that was a closet, and he told me to lay down. And he lifted up my dress. I didn't know what to do. He was daddy. I could not deny him. I could not fight against him. I couldn't even complain. This is how strict he was. But at the same time, I was so uncomfortable because from what I understood, no one was supposed to touch my private areas except mommy whenever she had to check if there was something wrong. He did what he did to me for what seemed like forever at the time. I just closed my eyes and tried to think of other things. Like my favorite thing as a child growing up was My Little Ponies. So I just thought about My Little Ponies and tried to ironically do what my parents had told me to do whenever I had nightmares, which was to have good thoughts. So I did that until I felt him pulling my dress down, and he told me to get up and put up my underwear, and he hugged me, and he said that I couldn't tell anyone and that I couldn't tell mommy because she wouldn't understand, and it would make her go crazy. And I kept the secret. After that, throughout my childhood, he started coming into my room at night, almost every night, and continued to, you know, of course, at the time as a child, I didn't know that he performed different acts on me growing up. He raped me when I was 10 years old. That was around the time that he told my mother, and that it was necessary because I had a very bad skin condition. I had allergies. I wasn't allowed to go to doctors. My father basically treated any ailments within the family. So my father told my mom that this abuse that he was doing to me was helping my health overall. And when she told me that he had told her what he was doing to me, I asked her if at the time one of his girlfriends, did she tell her? And the reason why I asked her this was because my father had introduced his girlfriend into me. So his girlfriend would come over, stay the night with my family. My father would get me up, and he would rape raped me while his girlfriend molested me during the time. So my mother didn't know that. So when I asked her, her name was Akua. When I asked her, did Akua tell her her face looks like she saw a ghost? That was the first time that I witnessed her confront my father. When she confronted my father about what he was doing to me and the fact that he had introduced another adult to me as well, he beat her with a belt. And after that, she did not question him anymore. When I was about 14 years old, my father purchased a house in East Orange, New Jersey. The house that he purchased was dilapidated. It needed to be renovated. So we lived there on a construction site as we rebuilt the house. And it was during that time that I got pregnant with my first child by him. I guess it was melancholy. Like he wasn't upset, but he wasn't happy. So I don't know what was going on in his head, but when it did start stirring, because when my father's girlfriend, the same girlfriend that had me with him, found out that I was pregnant, she asked, well, is the baby going to be deformed? And that was the first time I saw him have an emotional reaction about it. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she then started to explain that close family members that create a child, the baby would come out deformed. And that made him very angry. And he yelled at her. I don't know what else happened between them, but that was the most emotional response that I had seen him have. Then I had the baby. I started having labor pains, very mild labor pains. I did not know I was in labor. I felt like it was mild menstrual cramps, and I tried to go use the bathroom. Now, we did not have running water. We did not have plumbing. We didn't have a toilet. What we had was a makeshift toilet on a Home Depot bucket with a toilet seat on top of it that then, after it got to a certain level, we would go and dump out in the backyard. We'd bury in the backyard. So I was sitting on this makeshift toilet and I was pushing, thinking that I just needed to use the bathroom, and water splattered in front of me. I screamed out. My mom came running out of the one room that was finished enough for me and my family to live in. And she looked between my legs and she said my baby's head was there. So she called my father. My father and my mom brought me into the room, laid me on the mattress that was on the floor that we all slept on, and my baby just came flying out. So I barely had a labor. I barely pushed, and my baby was there. My father checked her over. You know, he had already delivered so many of my siblings with my assistance of some of my siblings. And my mother knew what to do with delivering children from his other girlfriends. And she didn't have any health issues that we could see. She was not deformed like my father's girlfriend said that she might be. And after he saw that, he decided that it was ordained by God that he continued to breed me, continued to make children, because the human race was facing extinction, and it would be his blue blood children that would repopulate the earth. By the time I had my first son for my father, my first and last son for my father, I was about 21. And by that time, this was our life. My father abusing not only just me, but also 3 other of my sisters was just a normal thing. One of my sisters did get pregnant from my father around this time, so we had our sons in the same year. Then one day, my son, who was 5 months old, my father was away on a business trip. My mom was still home, And my brother, who now had become an adult and was sent outside of the family to help financially by working as a graphics designer and editing music videos, he had come to visit. And my son woke up with what I later learned was seizures. And my brother convinced my mom to let him take me and the baby to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, it was all new to me. And they gave me all of this paperwork to fill out, name, information. They asked me if I had medical insurance, all of those things. My brother did a lot of the talking for me. But when I filled out the paperwork, I had this feeling that this could be an opportunity to indirectly reach out for help. So some of the information had asked for my parents' information and also my child's parents' information. And I put him down as both. So that raised a red flag for the social worker at the hospital. So she came and interviewed me. Then on one evening, a woman comes in, and it turned out that she was from what was at the time known as DIFUS. They're now known as DCP&P. And it turned out that the doctors did call state social services. And when she pulled me aside, the first thing she said to me was that she was taking my children. So I immediately clammed up. I now had my father threatening me, but then this woman wanted to take my children away. And then she did tell my father that she needed to come to the house. She got information about how many other children were at the house. She went to the house. And the next time she came back and spoke to me, she said that she was taking my other children into custody and she was bringing them in the hospital to check them out. And my father was compliant. He did not argue about it. He did not question it, but he maintained his threats to me that I was to not tell them anything. So when I say that all of this difficult, what seemed like its own tragedy with what my son went through ended up to be a complete blessing in disguise, because then my children were taking out of the environment, that the toxic environment that my father had created. One day when my father was taking one of my younger sisters into a bedroom to rape her, I stood up to him. For some reason, I just burst out yelling, cursing him out. I cursed him out. I cursed my mom out, because I realized if she stood up to him way years back, if she reached out for help herself, then this would not have gotten to the point that where we were at the time. So I held her responsible as well. And I took my sister into the bedroom and locked the door. And the next morning I woke up, my dad was gone, because he didn't respond. I think he was so in shock at the time. He just sat down with me yelling at him. And after that, my mom, a friend of the family's, took my mom to report my father for domestic violence. And then a warrant was put out for his arrest. I don't know that much of the process, but essentially that's what liberated us from him. I ended up moving, so my father couldn't find me. And then my sisters and I got together and we talked about reporting him. So we decided to report him to the police. It took them a year to find him. In 2006, he was arrested while trying to leave the country. After he was arrested while trying to leave the country, he made bail, and then he showed up with a child. Part of the conditions of his bail was that he could not be around children. He showed up with, I guess, his most recent child, who was 18 months old. And the judge arrested him on the spot, and they put him in jail with, I think it was a $1 million bail, which he wasn't able to pay. And he stayed there until his first trial, which was in 2010. So he was charged for aggravated So he was charged for over, I think, 75 different acts of assault, lewdness with a child, abuse of a child, child neglect and endangerment. The list just goes on. And he's now serving 90 years in prison. So he did have 2 trials, one for my sister, which was in 2010, and the second trial where I had to testify was for the crimes that he committed against me. That was in 2013. So after escaping my father, getting my children back, I put myself through college on scholarships mostly, but I graduated magna cum laude with 2 bachelor's degrees, and I speak out about these issues. I have made myself a voice for those who don't feel that they are strong enough to speak out for themselves. And between my book and my nonprofit organization and the work that I do online through social media, it has just really raised awareness about these issues. And my ultimate goal, yes, is to end things like child abuse and domestic violence and gender-based violence, but also shine light on predators. And I know in general, most people, we focus on survivors, and justly so, because survivors have to heal in order to function in the world. But at the same time, we also have to focus on the cause of why survivors have to heal, which are the predators, which are the abusers. So my biggest message to other survivors is that though it may take time, it is possible to heal completely. And if you focus on valuing yourself and understanding that what happened to you is not who you are, and it's really who you are is based on the decisions that you've made and the choices that you make going forward. And in doing that and focusing on yourself and focusing on your healing, you can be healed. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Even though some days it don't seem like it, it is okay to put your head under the covers every now and then. But, it is possible. It is possible to heal, very probable to heal and be successful and achieve your goals.
Nous sommes bel et bien de retour. We are back on our platform Etincelle, and I hope that you really enjoyed this video, as it was very, quite deep. A story that has touched my heart, and as you all know, and for those who follows Etincelle, it's been now plus 4 years. We like to point out stories like that in order to enlighten the community, to enlighten the family, enlighten, you that's probably watching us right now on certain things that you knew, certain things that you know, certain things maybe you don't want to talk about, certain things that you're hiding inside, certain things that is out there but somehow is taboo. There are so many subjects, so many topics that we really place on Etincelle, just to say that you can come from somewhere, starting from somewhere, but also go somewhere. There is nothing is really impossible on this earth. Nothing that that you see, that is impossible. There are certain things that you probably ignore, but truly exist in someone's house, and abuse such as this really hasn't started today, since a long time. But the fact that it is now in the eyes of the public is because someone spoke about it, because someone refused to keep silence, because someone somewhere said, I need to talk, so that someone can know. And then if you also you're in this situation, you're in this time, going through the same issue as, Aziza, honestly speak out. The reason why you need to speak out, because whenever you speak about it, you're freeing someone. You're giving strength to someone who truly needs it. You're giving strength to someone who didn't have it. You're giving strength to someone to fight. Not everyone has the same strength. Not everyone can, act the same way. My strength and your strength completely different. The way you react on certain things, we're completely different. And then there's not just females who are in this situation, but there's also male. Male are being abused around the world by their uncles, by their parents, by their cousin, by their fathers, friends, best friend, and so forth. We can name it, we can really name it. But honestly, if we don't blow the whistle, if we don't speak about it, honestly, it will just remain taboo the whole time. This young lady, who's Aziza Kibibi, she is bringing awareness in this topic in order to free someone who is caged somewhere in their, in their home, caged in their mind, caged somewhere in their spirit, broken in so many pieces. And this is why Etincelle is talking about it. If you're in this situation and you feel like, I'm going to ask Regie to place the pictures on the screen. Honestly, if you are in this situation, and maybe you know that there's a friend of yours that is going through a situation, there's a way to help. First of all, what you need to do is to contact the police. You really need to blow the whistle. I don't know how you would do it, but I believe there's going to be a way for you to do it. It's to first gather your strength. Gather your strength, because if you don't have the courage, if you don't have the strength to do this, you'll never do it. But first of all, do not give up, because there's always hope in the world, and Etincelle is here in order to, spread a hope as much as possible to someone who truly needs it. And then the picture that has been placed on a screen is a cycle of abuse that's really, maybe you don't know about it, but there's a circle of abuse. Sometimes, like, you recognize it because it keeps on happening. Sometimes we abuse our friends, lovers, the people that are around us once in a blue moon. We do it sometimes without even knowing. But when it becomes a habit, when it becomes something that it keeps on happening, that's when you know that, I need to talk about it. I need to speak to someone about it, because the more you keep in silence, the more this person will keep on talking and will keep on doing this action, and will think that you are weak. And because you're weak, this person will take advantage and will keep on doing this until maybe, a lot of people have died from this. So, circle of abuse, the first one is attention build. The abuser creates tension, and the survival's stress build, right? So you can literally see it on the screen, and it continues to go around, from attention build to incident to reconciliation. Listen, it keeps on going, but there's a way to break this cycle. There's a way to break the cycle, and by it meaning speaking about it. Today, in our day and age, 21st century, we have people to who you can call, numbers to who you can call, and you don't even need to mention your name if it means, like, it doesn't. You don't have to mention anyone's name, or they can even keep it silence for you. They don't have to talk about it, but at least speak about it, please. Please speak about it. We have different kinds of abuse that you may not even recognize. We have the emotional and verbal abuse. We have the physical abuse. We have the financial abuse. There are people out there who do use the financial platform in order to abuse young ladies, abuse your confidence, your trust. Yes, trust can be abused. To abuse your mental state, to abuse your kindness, to abuse you in so many ways. I'm not just talking about females here. Please bear in mind there are also males involved in this. There are females who do abuse, parents, their own parents. It's crazy, but it actually happens. And I'm trying to blow the whistle in your home. Try to blow the whistle in your hometown, in your community, in there's so many ways for you to take in this information. Please do not take this lightly. Sometimes I feel like in our African community, abuse is not really shout out as much, but it does it does exist. There are parents who do abuse their authority on children, on their own children, because they're parents. And they do say certain things on their children they're not supposed to. You can punish your child, but in certain extent. Because when you punish, it's still love. Because if you don't punish, unfortunately, your child can go, left, right. And you can find this in the different platforms and religions. If you don't, in French we say, celui qui châtie bien aime bien. If you don't do it, it's going to be, your child can go left. But have a limit on how you punish your child. Have a limit on how you go by it, And so there is also this authority that can be abused, respect that can be abused. And we can name it, yeah? So sexual abuse, sometimes you can go out with your friends, the bar, or you just get together, and somehow one of your friend can place something in your drink and abuse you. Whether it is physical, emotional, like in so many, can sell you. So today in our 24th century, we still do, it's still happening, what's called human traffic. Human traffic. Please, I really want to pull your ears on this one. Whether you're a pastor, whether you're a woman of God, man of God, in authority, in the presidential area, this is still happening. And there's a lot of organizations who are making billions of money by selling people's organ. You're selling your child for probably $10. It's happening, guys. You're selling your child's life for something so small that you can probably, if you take a little bit of time, if you have a little bit of patience, you're probably gonna get this thing. But no, from day one, from the birth, you already have sold your child, whether it's a male, female, it doesn't matter. You don't know what this man or this female is going to do to your child. And there are so many stories, and I've seen it and I've heard about it. And this is why I keep on blowing this whistle. I keep on blowing this whistle because it's so important and essential for us to keep on talking about it. Abuse leaves you with trauma. It leaves you really with what we call post-trauma stress disorder. It leaves scar, physical scar, mental scar, emotional scar in you, and it can take a while. It can take forever, for it to finally leave you. It depends who actually meets you along the way, along your journey. It depends how strong you are to really decide to forgive yourself and to forgive the person who's done you wrong in order to finally move forward. It takes time. But why would we, as a human being, do this to someone that we truly love? And this is my question to you. If you are a parent, if you are a friend, if you're a cousin, I don't know who exactly you are right now, who's listening and following Etincelle. If you truly love the person that is beside you, why would you abuse this child? Is it because you yourself, you've been abused? And this is where I really want to ring a bell, because it seems like abuse can be somehow, can I say contagious? No, not contagious. Pass on, It keeps on passing on. If I've done it, if someone has done it to me, then I'm going to do it to somebody else. And the person that I've abused will do it to somebody else. And that person will do it to somebody. Listen, why keep on passing the pain? That means the cycle will actually never end. Why keep on passing the pain? Why? Why can we not break this cycle and finally say, you know what, we're done with it? Let pain come in so many other ways, but not through us, a human being. That means somehow our heart has been damaged. Somehow our mind, not even mind, I'll say the heart, but there's healing. You can definitely find healing. Please do not pass your pain to someone who don't deserve it. Abuse can also come from circumstances, life circumstances. But that doesn't mean you need to keep the pain in you, keep on dragging it like years after years. When would you actually get the healing? When would you start healing? If you keep on dragging it from Monday to Sunday, from that Sunday to the other Sunday, from that year to another year, for that month to the other. Listen, no. I'm coming to tell you that it's possible to break the cycle. And the first thing is to gather your strength. Calm down. Calm yourself down. Gather all your thoughts. If you need to write down on a piece of paper, come on, do it. Gather all the places that you're hurt, and trying to see how you can, if you need to research about it, do some research on how to get help, because there are people out there that can truly help you. There are doctors, you can see a doctor that can help you on that, a friend that can help you on that. You have men of God around the world, your local community, pastors that can truly help you in this situation. Combine them two, but there is definitely a solution in this time. So apart from that, I really wanted to say that let's stay together, and this is where Etincelle is really coming to enlighten someone's family, to enlighten someone's community, and to really tell you that abuse can be placed in so many areas. We just really need to be aware of it. Even on social media, there are abuse. But be strong and make sure that you find ways to block. There's different ways to block abuse. If it means like you need to block someone, block them. If you need to delete them, delete them. Block, done. If you need to mention it to someone around you, please do. But do not keep your mouth silent, because silence is still an action. Silence is still an action. When you don't do anything, you're still acting. It's a choice. Yeah? All right. The next thing that I really wanted to talk about is a way to help a friend or to help someone in this situation is also to educate yourself. When someone comes to you, you don't know really what this situation is all about. It's important to educate yourself in that matter for you to come, to be able to help this person how it's supposed to be. Not just, in French we say tête en l'air, but to really come up with the right stuff. Educate yourself in a situation. Lend your hand, be kind to this person. Because this person's coming to you, they need help. So don't be harsh and trying to, trying to accuse or judge this person too quick. But be this person that lends the help, gives the hand in order to help this person. Please don't judge. I always say, if you judge, well, you will be judged. Everything somehow goes around. Maybe it'll be your turn. Maybe in 2 years' time, in 5 years' time, that you will need help. So please don't judge, And there are lots of guides, as I just spoken about, around the community, families, churches, places. Even on the internet, you can still find help. All right? So, and there's so many things I could say is that be a friend in that moment. Don't abandon your friend. Don't abandon your cousin. Don't say things that they don't really need to hear at that moment, but give them as much attention as possible. The other things I could say is really develop the safe place for your friend. where they know that, I can refuge myself there. I can find my peace of mind whenever I call my dad. I don't know, but don't reject. Create that space, where that loving space for your people. You don't know what people go through in a daily basis. Even at work, they can be abused. Your manager can abuse you and tell you not to speak about it. But by you complying to it, you're not helping yourself, or even helping someone who is probably going through what you're going through in the same company. All right? So this is basically the end of the show of Etincelle. And I'm so happy and glad that you connected. You were so many to follow. Thank you so much for your share. Thank you so much for your attention, your ears. And I always say you are the star of this show. I really want to thank every single helping hand, especially the ones that is sponsoring the show. Oblé Dedan, Apostle Mylene Mudiai. Thank you so much for always being there. Your love is so beautiful. And for every single one of you that is watching us right now, regardless of what you find in yourself, keep on connecting. We are going to be live next week once more, and with an amazing guest actually coming from Cameroon. So see you soon next week. Stay awake. Have that beautiful smile on you. Love you so much. Mwah. It was Gracia Susuzande, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.